Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Cheeseadelphia 6. I am Tempo, joined by Fear Dragon.
What is up?
I am great. We are going into our final... What?
I said, what's up? And you're like, I'm great.
Yo, what's wrong with that?
It's okay.
Instead of like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
What is up?
Yeah.
The
That's
sky,
like when you go to the movie theater and they take your ticket and it's like, enjoy the movie. And you're like, you too. Oh.
Yeah. And I'm the type of guy to do that. That's why I did that. So, well, we are going into a semifinals. It is the last semifinals of the night. It is going to be between Cham and Probe. You got a chance to cast that series between Probe and Rail. And what were your thoughts, especially like after we had casted before, like the Probe versus Rail from yesterday?
Yeah, you know, Probe is one of those really cool players who, again, like I think I've talked about this before. He's not afraid to experiment, to kind of throw weird things out there, as we saw with the Disruptor play in PvP. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
But Probe is still willing to mess around with that kind of stuff. So I'm anticipating that Probe is also going to be the player that may toss in a weird build here or there, just some kind of odd stuff to try and catch his opponent off guard. And Cham is also just like a very solid player. So I really actually feel like this could be a very close series. But at the same time, if this went 3-0 in one way or the other, I also wouldn't be surprised because I do think that sometimes Probe is a little bit less consistent of a player.
Okay. I think, yeah.
And I'm going to make that the last thing that Probe hears before he puts on the headset. Like, Probe is an inconsistent player.
Like, I'm going to put my headphones on because I can't listen to this anymore. That's basically why he did it. But a lot of people also say that Cham is pretty straightforward when it comes down to it. So, like, if he is like better than you, then like the way that he plays is just basically straightforward. He's not going to try to really trick you too much. But, you know, just solid mechanics, very, very, you know, a lot of roach-heavy play a lot of the times. But, you know, I haven't seen his ZVP. I didn't get a chance to actually check out his ZVP, although I believe he did play against Print F. And, you know, he did pretty good
PVC.
in that one. That's,
I'm sorry, that's ZV.
That's
ZVC.
ZV Printf.
ZVC.
ZV
Cannon.
ZV Cannon. Yeah, I think the fact that he did well against it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to do good against Probe because it's a whole nother tier of
it's a different
Canadian
race.
It really is, right? Like the way that Printf would play Protoss, especially like other people, they tend to have like their own way. No Regret has his own kind of style.
Yeah.
You know, you're not playing against the straight up Zerg. You're playing against No Regret.
Absolutely. So we'll have to wait and see how exactly Cham decides to play this out, if he's going to play super safe. I know that one thing also about Cham's playstyle is he can sometimes be, like, he can definitely get into that sort of greedy mode a lot of the time. And I know it's a lot of Zerg players will get out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have games that will look a little bit silly because they weren't entirely prepared about some sort of attack was coming or they didn't quite scout it or something along those lines. And then they just sort of fall over flat in their face. It looks like a very silly game, but it definitely ends up happening. I know Cham has had a couple of those games before,
like that
but I think he's been playing pretty solid.
Yeah,
at least during
he's actually
this
feeling
event.
really good about how he's playing too. He's like, yeah, I made a few mistakes, but you know, I think I'm playing pretty good. I'm feeling confident in my matches, and honestly, the results are definitely showing it. So it's up to Probe, right? I feel like trying these kind of different things. We'll see how he ends up approaching it for sure, but I'm curious about it myself because I really like watching Probe play, and you know. Having an obstacle like Cham to get over, it can solidify, you know? It's just
Although Probe had some choice words to say when we were in the player pit. He made sure to say this while Cham was nearby, so it wasn't being spoken behind anyone's back. He was saying, oh, you know, Cham has two primary weaknesses. One is his skill.
Ooh.
And two is that he's going to lose.
And he said that. I love
Probe. Probe said that.
He said that.
He made sure to say that in audible earshot of Cham. Cham was just sitting there on his phone. I was like, okay, buddy.
What'd you say to me? Oh, man.
I'll show you in game. I'll speak with my actions.
Yep, you got to. In this game, I mean, sure, you can say it all, but if you don't prove it on the battlefield, then it makes you look a little silly. But honestly, I think it's all in good fun, to be honest. Like,
oh, yeah, of course. These guys are both, like, super-duper friendly people.
Yep.
Probe is incredibly friendly, although a little bit trolly in his own way.
Oh, yeah. I love it, though.
Cham is also just a super-duper friendly, happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
Very positive guy.
Very, very. You know, I don't think you really see him rage when it comes down to it. Like, you'll see him, you'll take it. He looks very, like, I don't know. He just seems to be, like, very chill, like, calm and collected.
I think so. I don't think he rages so much as he'll get kind of sad or disappointed in himself at, like, a loss or something, which is it's good and bad in its own way. You know, it has its advantages and disadvantages, but
He's like
all
bottling
right.
it all up.
Yeah, well, hopefully not, but we may not even end up seeing it happen as we go into game number 1. Spine down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the red Zerg player. Give it up for OSC Elite's Cham. Got that Zerg fans in the audience.
The real life chat.
The real life chat.
In the top left-hand corner, it is our blue Protoss player from Australia. It is Probe.
Repping that Legacy Esports ANZ.
Legacy, yeah. Remember I asked him, like, what is LGC? And I'm like, I didn't know. No, I said something even stupider, actually. I think I said, what is LG cans?
LG cans.
I'm like, but here we are on Abyssal Reef, man. A lot of series have been starting on this map. We've been seeing a hell of a lot of Blackpink, and even a lot of Catalyst, right? Like, what Odyssey is a map that I haven't seen too much, is at least from the games I've been casting.
Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of funny because we used to see Ascension, Ire, and Odyssey as like the de facto maps, maybe like 1 season ago.
Yep.
But even actually at the beginning of the season, you'd see them a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've definitely been seeing a lot more of, like, for example, Catalyst and some of the newer maps and stuff. Yeah.
Battle of the
Ascension.
Boardwalk. Did we even mention it?
Did we count? I don't
I don't
think I've seen the game on it yet.
I don't think I have either.
I know that at least one series I watched in the player pit had Battle on the Boardwalk, but I don't think
it might as well be.
You know, Jon Snow asked me for help with his vetoes, like while Masa was sitting there.
Yeah.
And he asked me, like, oh, should I veto Abyssal Reef or Battle on the Boardwalk? And I told him, Battle on the Boardwalk's a more fun map. Yeah. And he was like, okay, I'm going to veto Battle on the Boardwalk.
Oh, he was asking your opinion to know which one. Well, this is interesting, actually, as things start to heat up here. As the pylon has been put down in a proxy location, what is it going to be, my friend? It's close enough that that Stargate has a perfect path into that mineral line.
Yeah. It's going to be Temperate Waters over here on Abyssal Reef as that Stargate has an opportunity to get some damage done depending on what Cham does. The proxy usually is trying to, because, you know, Zerg players are still good at this game at this point.
Yeah.
But they know the exact time the Oracle would move in.
Yep.
They don't tend to build Spore Callers, you know, 40 seconds in advance or anything. That's a lot of extra mining time. So you try and time it out perfectly with how long it would take for an Oracle to move out across the map. And man, he's scouting around.
The location here, I feel like that would be the location you would get caught by putting it there, right? But Cham, so meticulous, goes.
It's because he hasn't seen anything inside the main base. He doesn't see a single pylon there or anything.
Oh.
And now he's seen the Stargate, so he should know. And now he should have appropriately timed Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, that is a big deal here for Probe. The fact that he was able to scout it at that time, means that this is really not going to do too much if he actually puts down the Spore. I guess if he makes both of his queens at his natural and then only go for the Spore in the main, he should be good. But no, he's going to take the precautions. And even protecting against the Adepts by making these lings here means that he shouldn't really take that much damage at all.
I mean, in a sense, the damage he's taking potentially is just the fact that he's defending so much with these spores and also so many lings. He's hitting only 26 workers, and yeah, he's going to be jumping up a little bit further, but this was, I mean, going for proxy Stargate, yeah, there is some degree of like, oh, this is a proxy, this building is going to die, but it's not that big of a deal. If the fact that this Oracle moves in, kills 2 workers, and the Adept can maybe kill a 3rd, like, that's actually okay.
Yep, he could have maybe got one more drone, but
I think he probably could have there, yeah.
You know, it is what it is. Gets a little bit of damage done, and something that you noted was the probe count, right? Like 38. He's not been slacking on that probe production. He is living up to his name, clearly, but I just feel like the Oracle, unfortunately, didn't do anything, and the problem with having it be a proxy means that he can't even make, like, the Phoenix out to go clear the Overlords from the map that you would usually like to do. But, you know, I honestly don't think that there are that many Overlords on the map for Cham, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, he moved around in, I think, with his first Overlord, had it sitting over inside the main base of Probe, and now he's starting to retreat that on out. I think he's got a lot of lings, actually, moving around, trying to deny that 3rd base, but Adept plus the Oracle retreat back home. Sentry going to be able to get into the wall. Oh, he's going to have to force it, but he's going to end up losing the Sentry. This is actually a pretty nice pickoff over here for Cham, because he made all these lings to deal with the Adept harassment, and I think he was anticipating some sort of bigger attack coming in faster or something, like a proxy proxy gateway alongside the Stargate or something along those lines. But just when he didn't end up seeing it, he made all these lings, kind of a waste, but he's finding value for them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime you make lings at any point in the game as a Zerg player, you need, I mean, any units in general for Zerg is like, you need to get something done with them in a timely manner.
Oh, is that double Roach for him?
Oh?
We got double Roach on the way right now
is
for
it,
Cham.
intentional is the question.
Yeah, so if there is one way that this is intentional, and that's if it times out with the lair tech, which it looks like it's going to do.
It is, yeah.
And you go for both Roach tunneling claws as well as Roach speed, but he doesn't have Burrow coming out. He didn't get Burrow.
I mean, I guess he could, if he does it with the lair or any other hatcheries, I don't know if he has the gas to afford all 3 of the upgrades right now and get +1 because he's already getting a Evo chamber, so he can't afford it yet unless he's just about to take his gases and he has some crazy timing that not any of us know about. And then remember, you have to also be able to afford the roaches themselves. So it looks like a minor error
mistake,
by Cham, but you know, it's 150 minerals. And he's already up to 68 workers to the 58 that Probe has. So he caught up really quickly, man. Like I actually thought that Probe was going to continue to have that Probe lead for a long time.
All right, well, the first Colossus on the way out, alongside Probe going for this little Warp Prism harassment now, looking to try to get some damage done. He's also going to be moving in with the Oracle at the exact same time over toward the main base. Adepts unload over at the Natural. Roaches over there to greet him, but Adepts can tank those Roaches for a little bit of time. And the Oracle getting a bit of damage done. I think we also had a couple of Probes dying as well.
Yeah, there was just a little run by maybe. Trying to get a few of the Probes there. He might be able to get one of the sentries. Oh my gosh.
Once again.
It was a very expensive loss there. Anytime you lose a sentry, it really hurts, right? Like
yeah, I think that's already 2 that have gone down this game from that same set of Zerglings. I don't even think that too many more Zerglings were made.
Nope. So, yeah, a little bit of I think, well, Probe was basically focusing more on the micro because you do have to target the drones whenever you do that Adept harass, or else you're going to just be hitting queens the whole time. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can shift Q really, really fast, but
yeah.
if you miss one of them, then they start doing their regular attack pattern.
Yeah, never ideal. A lot more gateways being added on. We got a 4th base coming up for Probe, so he's looking to bring this out into a little bit more of a macro-oriented game, but he's going to have an opportunity, I think, to go for some kind of big attack. The problem is Cham is also getting into his own macro mode. He's been on those like 68-ish drones for a while. And he's pumping out all of those Hydras he wants. He's been able to shut down a majority of this follow-up Adept harassment. He's actually setting up a good amount of supply. Granted, some of that in Roaches, which is a bit inflated, but he is looking like he may be set up to defend against a really big Protoss push.
Yeah, he's setting up. He's getting his creep spread really nice.
5 Overlords on the way with drop. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is interesting here. Sometimes you do it in order to get onto the production. You go into the main with a bunch of Hydras and Roaches, but I'm wondering how he's going to utilize this. I would assume, yeah, like it's usually to go into the main. You're not like dropping on tanks like it's, you know, ZVT. Because there's no really friendly fire when a Colossus shoots your units on top of stuff. So it's a little bit different than, say, like a tank. But
yeah, you can still drop on top of the Protoss army. You bypass things like force fields. You also potentially just at least get in on top of the Colossus. Even if you don't quite do friendly fire or cause friendly fire or anything like you would with siege tanks, you prevent this Colossus from really utilizing that thermal lance upgrade. And once you take out the power units for a Protoss army, it does fall apart pretty quickly. Fall apart,
especially in this matchup. I would love it, of course, if Cham did have Banelings, right? Like, usually that's what you see with the Overlord drops, but the fact that he's doing it this way is actually super cool because as he dances around here with Probe on the right side into the Natural, this is what he was setting up for, getting Probe out of position. Remember, there is a recall that is available.
Oh, immediately uses it, and look at that quick reaction time from Cham. Also pulls back, but now all the units on the south side of the map can go after that 4th base.
Oh, really good out-positioning here by Cham. Going to be able to take out this 4th base pretty easily, I would say. And he might even get the Warp Prism. Oh, no.
He's going to move back into the main base. He might be able to slap off the robotics base. No, look at all these stalkers. Oh my god, Probe is on top of this.
He really is. The fact that he was able to save the Nexus as well, and he's making Cham go into a position where he really wants to get the Nexus because he wants to get the value for how much he just lost and absolutely get shredded on
those Colossus saving the day. So many kills on some of these Colossus. as they are killing a ton of these Hydras, a ton of these Rojas, with the Force Seals preventing the snipe off on that 4th base. And now Cham is on the retreat, +2 weapons finished up for Probe. He's making the move across the map right as Cham's +2 weapons is about to finish up. But okay, it looks like Cham maybe looking for an opportunity to move in. Oh, a couple of these units get caught by the stasis trap, but he can still try and go in for that 4th base.
That he can. He can at least try to get that pick off, but he has a bigger fish to fry as here comes the army of Probe moving on in. Cham is going to have to go through 2 different chokes in order to try to engage this, and honestly, he might even just go for the base race, try to get the counterattack damage done, because honestly, if he moves in, can he actually take this army?
But I mean, at some point he has to, right? Because this army is just going to go to the 3rd base and it's going to go to the 4th base and bring Cham down to a 1 base, nay, a 0 base economy, because that main base is really not going to be mining all that much at this point. These units are just getting shredded. Nice War Prism Micro with the Colossus keeping them alive, even though they're sitting in a very dangerous spot. Drones being pulled off the line. 1 Colossus does go down, but the rest of the army is going to hold strong. And behind this, back at home on the other side of the map, the 3rd base, I think that Probe is at least rallying in some units to try and deal with this. A Colossus gets picked off, but these Zealots, these Adepts, they're at least going to be able to trade out versus some of these units. GG.
Wow. Hell of a first game. Probe capitalizing on a very nice opportunity. Cham was doing something really cool with the Roach Hydra drop, but it got picked out of the sky, and when it doesn't go your way like that, and then you lose so much value or so much investment in Overlords, especially because remember the drop alerts cost 25 gas each too. By the way, we have a mouse that
we are a true Archon, a casting Archon.
We are the casting Archon.
Because we have a mouse and keyboard that both hook up to the exact same computer. So whenever he moves the mouse, I'm like moving the mouse the opposite direction. Like, no tempo.
That's how an Archon
Put the workers back in the natural. No, there's a widow mine there.
That's how it always goes for me, man.
That's how, I'm pretty sure that's how our Red Bull tournament Archon mode
when we
went.
did that was pretty fun.
That was great.
Oh, those are good times,
man.
We had some good chemistry.
We do.
With the Team Darkon, baby.
Team Darkon. That was a great name. All right, but ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be hopping into game number 2. The really big thing I think about that first game was you were talking about how there was like all the Overlord drop.
Yes.
And then with the other attack on the south side.
That was really cool.
He tries to pull Probe out of position all the way down to the 4th and then even pull Probe outside of his 4th with that army while he goes to the Overlord drops.
Yes.
Now, Probe recalls a bunch of his army over to deal with that drop. Cham immediately reacts, moves in from the south side. I mean, this is like the definition of a strategy game being showcased. Like, this is so much strategy, positional play, etc. And that's what I love about this series so far.
Same here. Like, the fact that it wasn't like just a Doom drop. It was a Doom drop in the sense of the word, but the underlying mission there was to get rid of that 4th. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2. It is Black-Pink that we are spawning on. And in the bottom left-hand corner, from Mexico, it is the Red Zerg from OSC Elite, Cham.
And his opponent up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Protoss player from Legacy Esports, ANZ. Give it up for Probe.
Wowee.
Okay, and remember, this is our semifinals match. Winner gets an opportunity to face off versus Neeb in the grand finals.
Look at that.
That is going to be for a spot in this Cheesadelphia circuit.
Circuit, yes.
Be able to play at the Washington, D.C. finals at the end of the year. And, of course, that's going to be a free flight, trip, etc. all paid for.
Indeed, yeah. So they're not just fighting for the prize pool, of course. Over 5,000 now will be matched, or rather bumped up to 7,500, I believe.
Yep.
And they're actually fighting for a chance to represent themselves and their team at that finals.
And that's actually a pretty big deal for all 3 of the remaining players, by the way, because Cham playing from Mexico, it's an international trip. Pro playing from Australia, that's
imagine
definitely
that.
an international trip. And even Neeb, oftentimes, you know, making trips to Korea and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's also a good amount of money saved and everything. There's a good amount of value in just being able to travel to that Washington finals, as well as just having a spot there.
Yeah, and remember, the Washington finals is not only the people that are winning these. It's another open tournament, so obviously, you know, sometimes you think of the Red Bull one where it was only the people that won during the year. Nope. It's actually going to be another tournament. So if you are in the DC area, you will be able to sign up for it if you want to make that trip out there.
Yeah.
As well as Chicago, yeah.
Yep, the Chicago one's another one that I'm really looking forward to, especially since it's going to be during a time of the year that's not so damn cold.
Seriously. Yeah, the Windy City, I bet if it was wintertime, it would be pretty, I've never been to Chicago, actually.
Oh, it's a really nice city.
Yeah, I'd like to go. All right, well, here we are, guys. What do you think of this Fear Dragon? It is a Stargate opener, but Cham is opening up with the Roach Warren.
Yeah,
relatively. That's a
really early Roach Warren. He's still he had a drone finishing up. He's making lings now, and I'm waiting to see if he ever goes back into droning right now, because this could just be like the ultra safe. Oh, I think there's going to be some adepts coming. I don't want to lose absolutely anything, but he's also sitting on just 20 workers. I really feel like this might lead into a big all-in or something.
Yep. Oh, he's going to try to defend the Roach Warren, and it looks like it is going to get spotted. So Probe knows exactly what's up. And what is his response? More gateways coming out. You might even see a shield battery. I am surprised that he goes for the Oracle. I guess it's still really good against like Ravagers, say. But, sometimes you see the Void Ray come out.
I'm personally a fan of the Void Ray, but I also have seen some really good Oracle usage, not only to pick off those Ravagers like you were talking about, but I've even actually seen some pretty good, pretty clutch stasis traps. I think they're a bit trickier because they're very all or nothing. Like, you either catch a few units and then you just die immediately afterwards because you use up all your energy on that stasis trap, or you catch everything and you buy a bunch of time and then you just shut down and push hard. So the Oracle, I imagine, going to be going after as many of these Lings as well as the Ravagers as possible.
And a confirmation here that the Lings, and then he sees the Roaches as well. I think Probe made the right choice here by getting this wall off, as well as the shield battery. That is going to be so helpful.
Yeah. He's got 3 pylons also that are powering up a lot of these buildings, so that's going to be very, very helpful indeed. And now we end up seeing the Roaches starting to get picked off. A second Oracle comes into the mix. The Lings are all getting cleaned up. It looks like it's not actually a complete wall off as the Adept is sitting there, but the double shield battery, holding the line. This Spartan Adept
completely shut down.
Oh, man, it died for a good cause because that line was just not broken.
Nope. And with Cham at 19 workers, the fact that Adept was able to identify it this early, it basically made that look like it was Cham's.
GG. Yeah. I mean, from that point, Probe could have actually gone into like blink DTs and still won the game.
It's just like the fact
he
that
could have made disruptors and won the game from there. Okay, guys.
Whoa. Yo, slow your roll, Fear Dragon. Come on, though. What's he thinking right now?
Oh, man. So, I mean, that's really unfortunate. Cham goes for a big risk play in game number 2, and it just completely doesn't pan out. And now he's facing elimination or potential 0-3. Getting defeated 3-0 never feels good when you were so close to the finals.
Never, right? Especially, like, you're trying to play it out and surprise your opponent in order to tie it up. And he knows that he can play the late game as well. He made a really big risk in the last game, or rather the Abyssal Reef game that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And he had the right idea, right? And he left that 4th alive, and I wonder if that kind of messed up his mentality for the at least objective at hand, because it almost
seemed like the base trade because it's like, oh, I can go back in and snipe the 4th, and now I got to do something with these units. So let's just go for it, I guess. And I mean, he did get damage done with that kind of counterattack, but he just had no hope without those other units of defending any of his own bases. So yeah, it's kind of a rough spot as we go into game number 3. Odyssey is going to be the next map, and I mean, it's worth saying that I don't think we've had a completely normal game so far.
Right?
With just like the game deciding moments have been determined by some very odd or like extreme choices.
Yes.
So I'd love to actually just see like a very normal, safe, standard macro game, trying to bring it to the later stage of the game for Cham.
Yeah, I would really like to see that as well. He does have his own style, of course, and maybe those kind of plays are in his late game arsenal, right? Like, that's just how he wants to do it. I know Jim Rising is a big fan of the Hydra drops, so it could be a Mexico thing. But here we are on Odyssey, the map that I was talking about that we didn't get to see that much. But it is going to be our Red Zerg player facing elimination. He needs your energy. Viva la Mexico! It is Cham!
And from the continent down under, we have on the south side of the map, the blue Protoss player representing Legacy ANZ. Give it up for Probe.
Legacy.
All right, going for good old Gateway Scout with that probe. Gonna just try and poke forward. Gonna scout out and see, yep, you're not doing anything super duper cheeky just yet. And I guess we do have the gas geyser eventually being thrown down there.
Okay, well, very, very standard. And, of course, Probe, never slacking with this Probe Scout, going out and out, sees exactly what it is. It is going to be that hatch gas pool. And, yeah, that gives Probe the opportunity to go ahead, take the Nexus right after the Gateway. And, instead of like going for a Cyber Core. I think Gateway Nexus is pretty standard nowadays unless you do see a pool first. Yeah. But, yeah, at least gives him the freedom to go for it.
I think really this is the worst situation to be in, though, against a player like Pro. When you're down 0-2, a player like Probe is really willing to experiment. He has weird builds. He has weird timings. He's one of those awesome players that I think loves just experimenting with things, not even just with builders and stuff, but he's the player that will sit in a unit test map and just mess around and see, like, how far does a charge lot charge? Can you do some really weird tricks and cool tricks to make them, like, attack a unit on your side of the map and then go for, like, a hatchery on the other side of the map and, like, charge across the map? He'll do weird things like that just for the love and just the enjoyment of discovering the game.
Exactly.
And when he has 2 games that he can work with extra before he has to worry about a game 5, this is where he can throw stuff out.
Yeah, he's feeling good about this, right? Like, I don't know what it is that he ate for breakfast or lunch today, but like once he was able to get over
American hamburger.
Yeah, he's good now. So it's actually nice to see that you know, someone like Probe playing so well. It's not even like Cham is playing poorly either, but I do believe that last game, the fact that it got scouted that early, it was almost perfect for Probe because it's like, well, Cham, sure he can try to drone up, but you're really behind. You almost have to go for it and hope for the best. So, with only 1 game left, he's gonna either go into the macro game. It doesn't look like he is at least going for a really early all-in just yet.
No. He's going for that usual Stargate. It gets scattered up by Cham very early on. We're probably going to see the Oracle first. And no, he actually swaps it out into a Phoenix to go after the Overlords instead. So this could still lead into an Oracle follow-up. The Oracle still holds a lot of value later on for scouting. Yeah, the Phoenix can get the similar scouting done, but we also could be seeing additional Phoenix coming out. There are some old-school PvZ players. Love that Phoenix play. Shout out to Rotterdam.
I know, yeah. I actually really like Phoenix play, especially when you're able to start it out early. I guess it looks like he's not going for it, but you know, when you see like such a sick control and you're able to see the Hydralist transition and you're just picking up Hydras as they're coming out in the early game, as you're transitioning to Robo, so it looks like he's only gonna make 1. And that could throw Cham off as well, like thinking if he needs to make 2 or Spore Crawlers per base or something. But I think a lot of pros are pretty fine with just making 1 Spore Crawler per base and then using the Queens to shuffle in between the bases depending on where the threat is. So I like this, though. The Lings are waiting to see when that 3rd base gets taken.
Yeah. Looking to try and get some damage done on it, but the Oracle gonna pose maybe a little bit too much of a threat. You can try and sack your Lings to expose the Oracle to make it use its energy early on to go after the Lings or something, but usually never feel great after losing a bunch of those Lings. He's like, suddenly, oh, I don't have any map presence whatsoever. I gotta remake those Lings, which means I'm not droning up a little bit more than I want to.
Right.
It just makes it feel weird.
I know that feeling firsthand, too, where it's like, you make these Lings, you want to do something with them, but then when you sack them and you don't do anything with them, it's like, well, do I continue with it? Or, you know, do I need to make units now because he feels like he can attack me? But at this point in time, luckily, it's when the 3rd's getting taken. So unless there's some kind of adept timing to line up with it, you don't really have much to worry about. And since it was a Stargate opener, he really doesn't have like a resonating glaive timing to worry about, or, you know, some kind of Twilight-based timing. So it could be just a regular adept attack, but, you know, I think the fact that he's focusing more on the economy, he doesn't know how many gateways were put down, and he sees the 2nd Oracle out. I just don't see Cham being too worried about needing to have units out right now.
Going after that Queen. Doesn't quite snag it, and it's going to take a little bit of damage from that 1 Queen whittling away at the Oracle health, but killing off 3 workers, especially the workers on gas, is going to be annoying. He follows this up with a Blink upgrade and starts up +1 weapons.
Wow. Yeah, getting Blink right now.
I haven't seen that too much in PvZ lately.
Me neither. I know that the new stalkers are pretty good, but it's like still something where you don't see it that often. And the fact that he's still committing to Robo, so he made the Robo not only for detection or for, let's say, scouting, he's still making Immortals. And he puts down a Robo Bay. So either he's expecting the Hydra. What is it? If he goes
Disruptors, Blink Stalker Disruptors. I swear
knew
to
you were
God.
thinking about it. I was like,
I swear to God.
It came, you know, as
I mean,
in my head.
the normal thing here, by the way, and it's actually not abnormal at all, is to go for the Colossus here.
Right.
But if he goes for Disruptors, I'm going to lose it.
Oh my God, he did do it in the PvP.
Kills the Queen.
God, that's brutal. Damn.
He's getting some really good damage done with those Oracles.
Yeah. I like
Phoenix
this Phoenix still getting a bit of value. Let's check it out.
It's on like 5 kills.
Is
It's like
it?
5 Overlord kills.
Yeah. That's all Overlord
6
kills, I believe.
Overlord
Yeah, because the
kills.
Phoenix can't kill anything on its own on the ground. So.
Yeah, and I just double checked it. He's killed off 6 Overlords now.
Wow, that's actually really good.
All right.
So interesting thing from Cham here, going for what looks to be a Spire. He's already put down the Hydra Den and is committing to the Roach and Hydra upgrades, but does he expect perhaps Probe to be going for like a double Robo and you can usually surprise your opponent?
Yeah, he might actually be expecting the Colossus play based on something that he saw. The War Prism is going to make its way into the main base. Looks like Cham has spotted out and is already reacting with a few Roaches. He only has 2 right now, but he's sending a few more other units over there, so he should be able to deal with that. He also scouted out that Probe was taking that gold base already, so could potentially try and put some pressure on over there as he starts to get out that massive swell of Hydras that this is where the point of the game where the Zerg player's mid-game starts looking really strong.
Exactly. The fact that he's got 4 or rather 5 bases now, even has the gold base, so his income is just going to go through the roof. But he is going up to 85 workers, so he's going to be on the higher end of workers. And I believe that he needs to be able to trade efficiently.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't have Hive, then okay, so he's going for the. That's why he got the Spire. He's getting Colossus, Corruptors.
Yep.
And I think this is going to be pretty good as long as they're able to at least trade out with the Colossi. You absolutely need to be able to, and if you have a high enough income, then you can do these kind of trades. It's just that your army value is not going to be that great.
I'm a little bit worried about how many Corruptors he's actually making. He's made 12 Corruptors so far, actually going for, a total of 12.
Yep.
And that's a lot. And it's going to be okay if Probe continues Colossus production. He's going for, I believe, his 4th Colossus? No, 3rd Colossus. If Probe stops at 3 Colossus, I actually feel like 12 Corruptors can end up being a bit of a supply. It just eats into your supply a little bit for your army.
Yeah.
If Probe continues Colossus production after that, though, I will actually like the Corruptor decision.
Yeah. Oh, I love the hallucination here. There's no Overseer just yet, so he is potentially going to target down the wrong ones. But no, he actually goes for the correct one. Yeah. And he doesn't even lose a Corruptor there. I think it got really low.
All right, good start for Cham so far. But now these Force Seals actually, oh boy, they're roasting away at those Hydras with those Colossus. Couple of drones going down on the other side of the map. Not too sure where just yet, but we do end up seeing Cham getting forced all the way back.
All right, well, here go. The Corruptors are going for the hallucinated one, so that's 2 Colossi that go out that were fake.
But this is a really bad fight for Cham. He's losing so many units here, and then Aggressive Blink comes forward, and Probe cleans up the army. He still keeps one of the Colossus alive. And at the same time, doing some Adept harassment, killing off 5 workers. He is going to end up losing the Adept, sure, but Probe, he's sitting down in supply because I guess more Roaches and Hydras are being made. He did again lose those Colossus, but I feel like he took a really good fight there.
He took an amazing fight. The fact that those 2 hallucinated Colossi went down and then he saved the final one with the Warp Prism was great. Now he's going to try to go for a counterattack. However, Cham's economy is so good that he immediately maxes out. And if Probe is going to be attacking into Cham here, he doesn't have the luxury of that ramp on his side anymore. He is going to be prone to a surround, but he's going to use that wall, the big monument in the middle of the map.
Oh, War Prism getting taken out by the Corruptors. Soon thereafter, the Colossus, but the Zealots buying a lot of time. The Stalkers blink forward very aggressively, and now the Force Fields are gone, so Probe is about to try and pounce on this base. He's going after the gold base, knowing that he can even take advantage of that high ground situation. And the entire army right now for Cham is just forced back behind the mineral line or in front of the mineral line.
Oh my gosh, and this is the... I would say the bad part about having so many workers, because now that you're against the ropes, you actually are having a bit of trouble trying to deal with this, but he's using the drones to fight, and he gets everything out. Equal upgrades going down. Cham is going to hold.
Oh, man. And because Probe doesn't have that Warp Prism anymore, those are some really nice stasis traps. And that is going to allow Probe to escape on out of here, but he did lose a lot of very expensive units. He's remaking the Colossus, which is good. He's really making the Warp Prism, which is really important. He lost that Warp Prism earlier. And this Oracle finding some really nice damage that Lings and Roach is not going to be able to do too much over there. Maybe trying to hope to soak up some hits.
Yeah. At least Probe was able to expand behind that, I believe. He's secured the gold base now, too. So it was really nice of Cham to be able to take out the Warp Prism immediately. So that's basically why there were no reinforcements coming out.
Might see Limbo Line versus Limbo Line. Both these players moving across the map and not anticipating each other. The sentries could be in a bit of danger, but they force sealed out. And Probe taking some nice advantageous positions in this.
Yeah, the force field actually going to work against Probe here. So he's going to have to wait for a little bit of time. Those 3 Corruptors are very brave, trying to take out the Colossus.
That's not going to happen. Oh, the Zealot flank coming in from behind, getting in on top of the Hydras. The Colossus is getting taken out, though, and the Stalkers are fighting head-on versus Hydras. With the Zealots taken out, it looks like Probe's getting forced back, and now he's down about 70 supply.
Wow.
Cham seems like he's finally breaking through. The Colossus gonna put a hold on that Hydra aggression.
Yeah, that's a lot of Hydras, but, you know, Colossi are pretty good against them. And it's still going to be single robo, so we're never going to see an overwhelming amount of Colossi. And that's kind of a big deal because if you're only going to be making Blink Stalkers against the Hydra, Roach Hydra army, then you're not going to be having a good time. There's no Storm, I don't think, transition. I saw the Templar being warped in, but I don't believe he has Storm.
Yeah, it's it's a rough spot. Probe really needs to just try and get up as many units as possible. He needs to get up those Colossus. I think a second one is on its way over. An Archon,
but does it matter?
In the back, and oh man, Cham is on the stutter step forward to victory right now as he starts taking out more and more of these units. Some nice micro from this Colossus, but eventually is going to get caught. Both of them go down, and Probe gonna tap out.
GG. Cham puts one on the board, so that's got to feel really good.
Yeah.
You know, being against the ropes and then even having that really, really scary defense at his third base. Remember, he's like, okay, I have like 85 probes right now, and you're on my side of the map, and we are not trading as efficiently as I would like.
Yeah.
He keeps his army alive and is able to shut it down because he killed that Warp Prism. If there were to be another Warp in, I don't know if he was going to be able to hold.
Exactly. That Warp Prism snipe-off was so important. The fact that he didn't just continue to go after the Colossus over and over and over again, which is a really difficult decision to make. You want to go after the thing that's literally shooting laser beams and murdering all of your army, but you also want to go after the Warp Prism that's picking up the Colossus as well as warping in more units.
The reinforcements.
The reinforcements was probably the biggest deal in that engagement. So Cham being able to snipe that off and then be able to defend with the drones was able to secure a lead in that game and take it to
still have 70+ drones
and
after
still have
drones.
quite a few drones. Yeah,
you know, that's the 85. That's the trick right there. You make 85 so that, you know, you pull them for that defense.
I mean, he learned that trick from, I think it was Tesla, who was up to 100 workers.
Yeah, at 99. I don't know if he ever broke 100.
Yeah, that's true. He was sitting at 99. Then Masa went ahead and dropped on him and softened him up to like 89. And it was like, okay, well, you still got too many, but at least it's a little bit better.
Yeah, it makes your opponent think that they're a little bit more ahead when in reality, no.
That's the mind game.
Not it.
That's the mind game.
I gotta, I mean, when I do that, I just die. But, you know, hey, I don't know. Maybe there's some little aspect to it that I'm missing. And it's got to be the number, right? Like, I just go to 101. I'm the type that will break 100 workers, whereas Tesla knows a secret rule never to break 100.
All right. Well, we're going to be hopping into game number 4 as the series is now at least got one game on the board for this guy down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map from OSC Esports. Give it up for Cham.
And in the top left-hand corner, it is our blue Protoss player from Legacy ANZ. Give it up for Probe. Proberto.
Good old Probito.
Yeah. Well, here we go. It is going to be Neon Violet Square. Another big map here that at least allows you to have a tucked-in base that still gives you access to the gases. So that's always nice, even though you do short yourself a few mineral patches.
Yeah, it's actually surprising that we don't really end up seeing, I feel, a lot of players end up taking it on this map, though, because they really do just prefer, you know, we'll go for, like, the third base that's more usual, either the low ground third for a lot of, like, I think certain Terran players in particular matchups, and a lot of time more just commonly the third base above or below those destructible rocks from your natural. And it's just because you get the extra resources. It's about as normal as a third at most other maps.
Yeah.
So it's not actually harder to defend by normal standards. And we end up seeing that back base actually taken as like almost like a, I'm having trouble taking a base, so this will give me the extra gas income and stuff that I need.
Yeah. I know, we barely ever see it get taken by choice, unless they've been forced to take it. Or, it's just like one of the bases where that next base
feels like an extra base, rather than like, oh, I really need this base.
Exactly. All right, well then, still going to be very macro openers, if you will, or just standard. You can't really say macro if it's a hatch gas pool or just like a gateway into Nexus. It is just what it is for now. So I'm wondering how this game is going to at least pan out, because we've seen Cham not playing a style that relies on Hive tech. He's kind of in that mid-game mentality where he'll go for, Roach Hydra Corruptor and stay on it. There was no transition out of that if, he needed to go in. Like, he felt like he doesn't need Broodlords, he doesn't need Ultras, Vipers, he needs them. I just got everything that I need right here.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point, because we were talking before also about how Cham and Probe hadn't, at least game 1 and game 2, it was like the proxies, there was like the all-in, all this other kind of weird stuff. There hadn't really been a super normal-ish looking game.
Yeah.
And I think that last game was probably the closest
thing to
like
a
normal game. And Cham was able to take that. His macro, he was able to get up a crazy large army. He was able to take really good engagements. So this actually may instill a little bit of concern for Probe if he tries to play out another one of those super solid standard macro games, because it's like if you run out of bags in your bag of tricks.
Yeah.
Or say if you run out of tricks in your bag.
If your bag of tricks contains bags.
I mean, that is the ultimate trick, is that your bag of tricks actually just contains more bags. Who would expect that?
Nobody. Now they would. But you finish your thought. I'm sorry. If you run out of tricks in your bag of tricks.
Yeah, then, I mean, you do feel a little bit uncomfortable, because now it's like, okay, well, when we went to the macro game, it didn't go so well. So what do I do now?
Where do I
do I repeat one of my, like, the other games or the other builds that I went for is already seen?
Yep.
Or do I try and just chance it out in another macro game? Was it, like, not that bad?
Yeah. Or if it's close. Because, I mean, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Cham steamrolled Probe. He was against the ropes at some point. So going again with this Phoenix, it did seem to work out for him last time. And I love the Oracle right after it. So even though he's probably not going to be able to get that many drone kills, I think he can get a few. He did a few stasis traps last time, and even just getting the Revelation early. So building up that energy and going right into Robo. So, I mean, no real shenanigans here. I think he's playing a very straight-up PvZ right now, and Cham keeping it honest as well as he drones up his third.
Yeah. To me, I actually feel like this is very reminiscent of the last game.
Very, right?
From Probe especially, going for the Phoenix, then Oracle, moving in, sniping off one, maybe two workers eventually later on, gets up the Robo, gets up a fairly quick Robo Bay to start getting out Colossus or something.
Yep.
He does go for that in-base, that kind of tucked away third expansion.
Yeah, we were talking
Probe
about
does.
it. The fact that he just takes it voluntarily.
So he's going to be lacking a little bit of that mineral income compared to normal. And the kind of odd thing about PvZ, it's something that sometimes takes a little bit of time to kind of wrap your head around, especially if you're a new player, is that earlier expansions or earlier third bases are oftentimes easier to defend than later bases, just because you need that time to sort of establish yourself. So it's difficult for Probe to do something like take a very quick fourth base now. Yeah. Because he's already invested the resources into that third. So now he has to wait a little bit until he actually has a good standing army to defend that base.
Yeah, he needs to at least start. Yeah, he's starting the production. 5 gateways already. So yeah, going for the Nexus first to get that, economy to at least supplement these gateways. Now, at least if there were to be an attack, he's going to be able to warp in and at least have enough production to defend. We might even see a bit of aggression here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a lot of.
That's a lot.
Wait a minute. He stopped pro production as well.
Yeah, he stopped pro production at 48. He's gotten the warp. So he doesn't have a Twilight Council, so he cannot research Blink, Charge, or Resonating Glaze. A lot of the core gateway units are not going to have those upgrades. But what he will have are some very strong sentry plays for force fields. and a large number of these stalkers. But okay, the roaches are going to be popping on out. Has Cham realized anything?
I mean, he droned up to 71, so I'm definitely worried for him
He's getting an infestation pit. Okay, if there was one indicator I could show you that Cham had no idea this was coming, that is it.
Yep, and now Cham realizing it, he just started his road speed. He doesn't have any upgrades. He's going to try to defend here. He's up 20 workers right now, and this is not a case where you usually want to be ahead in 20 workers. Oh my god. What a play out of Probe. He might be able to take out this third base. And, I mean, the roaches don't even have speed yet, so sure, they're on creep, which is great, but the force fields, Hatchery working against him here, Fear Dragon.
Yeah, it is acting as a massive force field right now. More force fields being plopped on down. The Oracle's getting involved in the fight as well, since the Quees are on the south side. One of the Oracles does get sniped off. Sentry's also on the front line, so they have to be careful. He's starting to lose some of these sentries, but he's taking out a lot of these units. The Warp Prism could be vulnerable to the Corrosive Biles. He's getting Corrosive Bile now. He moves it out of the way. He does manage to save it in time. He can use that for some good little blink micro, but he needs to be able to get in that next round of reinforcements too.
Oh my god, Cham is going to hold right here.
Wow.
And I thought he was dead, you know. He just needed to get that next round of units out. He bought enough time. He didn't rush into the engagement. While the force fields were happening, they weren't actually segmenting any of the army. It was basically just keeping him at bay. And I thought he was going to go for like the third snipe and then get out of there. But he ends up committing to the attack. And he's still not making any probes. So, I mean, he's fully committed. That third base that he took is really just there, I don't know, just the paperweight at this time being.
Who is this guy? Cham is on the verge of this, like, quasi 3-base, 2-base all-in, and he's getting up his hive right now. He's getting the spire. He has an infestation pit.
And he's up by, like, 50 supply. Okay, now it's about 40, but...
I mean, he's still got to be really careful here, because if he plays a little bit too greedy, he's already lost one of his gas guys, so he's going to have a lot less of that gas income. And he still has to push this back a little bit further. But now he's swarming on in. The Warp Prism has to unsiege and has to retreat on out of there. He's losing Stalker after Stalker. Probe is getting forced back a second time. And Cham even has a follow-up.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get up to Hive. He can get up to Broodlords as well. And I think this is all she wrote. It looks like Probe has given up on this attack, as at least Cham pushes on through. Even hitting the Warp Prism. The Warp Prism goes down. Cham, bam, thank you, ma'am. He's going to tie up the series, and we are going to a Game 5.
Oh, man, Cham seizing all of the momentum right now. Probe, I was saying he had those 2 games to work with, but when you do 2 macro games and you lose both of them, I mean, that second game, not really a macro game so much, but, I mean, you go for that kind of attack. Cham doesn't really have a great scouting information about that attack coming.
No.
He is going up to like 70-some drones. He's dropping down an infestation pit right before the attack comes into vision. He does have some roaches and ravagers, but he still manages to make the defense work, and he gets a hive, and he gets a spire. Like, what more could go wrong for Probe in that game?
I really don't know. It's just one of those pushes where it feels like that's it for Cham, right? Like, you overdroned, you only have roaches, and I guess a few Ravagers, and no road speed, no upgrade lead. Your economy is being compromised because the base that's being attacked is the reason why you made all those drones. So it's like, if you lose that base, then it's like, well, damn. But the fact that he didn't lose that base allowed him to just have an enormous lead, because Probe, even though he took that third base, he never made any other probes after. So it was basically to maybe transfer probes from his main as it started to mine out. And it makes me wonder, because if he wanted to sell a fake third, you would think that he would put it in Cham's face, right?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Yeah, otherwise, does the third have that much value? I mean, maybe it's for the extra gas geysers, because he is warping in a lot of those stalkers and stuff, and he's also warped in so many of those sentries. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. We'd have to talk with Probe to find out a little bit more about that, or watch the replay or something. But here we go. Tempo. It is Game 5. Ascension to Ire. Winner moves on to the grand finals and gets a shot at taking on Neeb.
Yep. Oh, man. I don't know. When's the last time we had an ace match? Has it been a while?
I feel like it's definitely been actually a little bit of a time since
I love it. But here we are on Ascension to Ire. It is going to be in the bottom right-hand corner. Bringing it back from OSC Elite, it is Cham.
And up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, the blue Protoss player was sitting up 2-0 at the beginning of the series, now sitting 2-2. Give it up for Legacy ANZ's Probe. This is a best of 5, so this is the final game of this best of 5.
Yeah. Can he bring it back? Is he gonna at least say, okay, yeah, I was up 2-0. I know how I did it. I just gotta kind of repeat that. Or is he kind of like, damn, dude, I can't believe this. I was on the brink of being in the finals, and now here I am on my tournament life on the line. It's not a feeling that you like to have as any player, you know? Like, if you're ever up by 2, it's like, okay, I got this in the bag. He didn't even, like, slack, I don't think. I believe just that Cham was able to hold on, and he's just like, I'm not dying yet, man.
Yeah, and again, like I want to bring it back to the whole idea of like you want to throw out those things in your bag of tricks, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think that last game, it was one of
That
Probe's
was it.
little tricks, and it didn't work, and that can kind of suck. And it never feels good when it goes back to the ace match, because now you're like, okay, I only got one more shot. Whatever I pick has to be the correct choice this time. It's hard to take a gamble, but will Probe do something like that? Will he try to play out a nice, normal match, or will he actually be willing to bring this into a macro game?
I wonder. I mean, I thought that that's what it was going to be in the last game. You know, like it was just a big pressure. But when he started adding the gates and cutting the probes, I was like, uh-oh.
You know what I actually wish? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Probe had gone for like a cannon rush here.
I know.
One thing that's actually worth noting is that Cham never leaves his overlords by the natural. He actually just sends them straight across, I think.
Yeah.
That's one of the
that would have been a big surprise.
That's one of the things, that a lot of like Zerg players are like, nobody can rush us anymore. I'll just send my overlord across the map. I'll get some more scouting information.
Yeah, just do it.
I know that's why actually Neeb said that before in an interview, that that's like the reason why he would went for a cannon rush versus somebody. I think it was like versus Rogue or something.
Oh really?
No, I forget. I actually forget who he was playing. Well, Stargate coming out.
Yep. I think he's been very, very comfortable with this opener. Whether it's going to be the Oracle or the Phoenix first, it just seems like a way that Probe feels most comfortable opening up. He's like, all right, well, I get the scouting every time that I go this route. Now it's all about what I do with that information. You know, that third base usually ends up coming out, and he was very successful in the first 2 games when it came down to it. It's just that somehow, some way, Cham has been able to let him know that he still has more fight left in him.
Okay. Well, Stargate, of course, is going to get immediately spotted. Probe going to continue to go for that Phoenix first, following that most likely into the Oracle. Throwing down a couple extra gateways over at the front, but that's just bringing him to the usual 3 gates. So it's still going to be a little bit while longer before we find out what exactly Probe has in mind. The 2 Adepts can actually take out all of these Lings if they continue to try and fight this. And, turning out a little bit early. Sees Zergling speed finishes up and killing off that last one. But now getting
that's actually
surrounded.
good. Yeah, even getting that surface area that usually gets denied when the Adepts get into that position. Really well done by Cham. Only loses 3 workers for 2 Adepts.
Yeah, couldn't have asked for too much better of a trade there. So,
aside from losing nothing.
Aside from losing none of those early 4
maybe
workers.
2 workers.
2 workers, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, 3 workers isn't too bad.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah. So, Probe going to be able to continue to force out or kill off any of those front overlords. They got a few Lings poking in at the front. It's going to just try and scatter around for that 3rd base. We'll see when Probe opts to try and take it. He's even getting up a shield battery, so really staying a little bit extra defensive, because he didn't actually get... He saw a few of those Lings, and he saw saturation at the natural, but I guess he didn't really get up into the main base. He didn't see technically a ton, or like even the saturation at the 3rd just yet.
Right. He just was able to get into that net. And it was really brief, too, with the Adepts. You know, I guess you're clicking around and you're able to see it, but, you know, when you don't really get the best trade, then you start to feel like, okay, I wish I could have traded for maybe a little bit of information, like if I went into the main, but it's a risk whenever you do that, of course, with the Adept vision being lower, so, yeah, you go for it, you hope for the best, and it just didn't work out for him, so he's going to go along with the regularly scheduled 3-base Protoss style here, as he gets his Robo out at the same time. Yep. And yeah, Cham's just going to go drone up, probably the same way that he's been going at his lair. I mean, he has the gas for it, but he's trying to get his worker count up even beforehand.
Yeah, and again, like that is almost something I kind of fear for Cham sometimes, is that it looks like he's going to just play a little bit too greedy. But I mean, the last game showing that maybe it's not actually the greedy if you can defend against the big tax.
Yeah, I'm
even
still
when you're just going up to like 70 workers and whatnot.
No biggie.
But all right, Robotics Bay on the way right now for Probe. Looks like he's going to play a similar build to game number 3. This is the game that he went for that Colossus play. in before he makes disruptors. If I just keep calling it, then the caster curse will ensure it doesn't happen.
That it doesn't happen. So
I'm trying to save.
He would
Probe.
never go for disruptors, guys.
Trying to save Probe from a horrible mistake.
Oh, you are. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said what I said then. But yeah, I like it. He's going in for it. The one thing that I noticed that he didn't really commit too heavily to that tech. So he's never really gone for double robo, you know, and going for double colossi in order to straight up blind counter like a Hydra Bane. Yeah. Because Cham actually hasn't been going for Hydra Bane. No. You know, I don't believe that he's made a Baneling Nest at all in the series.
And even his Hydra Ling stuff has been accompanied by a lot of roaches, and it's been a much later kind of attack that would come in.
Yep.
So it's a really completely different beast. But Oracle's finding a bit of damage. Almost gets the Queen over here. The Spore Caller going to be able to force back these Oracles, but man, finding 4, 5 kills so far before having to back out. I don't know if he saw the Infestation Pit there. Let's actually double check that really quickly.
Nope.
No, he didn't see the Infestation Pit behind Cham's mineral line.
Oh, man. Well, we didn't get a chance to really see how Cham was going to utilize the Infestation Pit last game.
I really thought it was going to be for Vipers or something.
Right.
But, okay.
Oh, okay. I thought he forgot Overlord.
Yeah, I was like, slow Overlord drops.
Don't do the tempo. Oh, what are you doing?
I've seen those ladder games.
You have, and you're like, okay, let's find another streamer to watch.
Oh,
but
boy.
that's actually really sick that he gets the tag on it.
That's so big right now.
Yeah.
He has Blink on the way right now. I don't know if I've seen too many Stalkers from Probe just yet. In fact, yeah, he doesn't actually have any out on the map as of yet, but likely looking to start warping them in as all 6 of these gateways start to finish up. And with the tag being thrown down on these Overlords, we may even end up seeing Cham retreat back with them. And yeah, he is actually going to retreat back. Even the Phoenix actually catching wind of this and starting to go after them.
Yeah, that was really good catching from Probe. Really on top of his game this time around, and securing the 3rd base, doesn't take any real damage. And now he's starting to get a little bit of damage done with his Oracles once again. He keeps on poking on in, and he's kept them alive the whole time. This is the type of Oracle play that I love, you know, getting damage done over time, not sacrificing them, keeping a tab on your opponent's army, you know, just playing it perfectly with the Oracles for sure. So let's see if his economy is going to be able to match that of Cham's, because eventually, yeah, we are going to see this Zerg explosion of units coming out. And yeah, 88, or rather 78 workers, as well as a hive on the way. Probe, you know, I feel like either he needs to just have the right units to defend, hit a timing, do something with the Warp Prism in order to keep Cham occupied.
Cham really paying attention to what Probe's vision is out on the map, and he sees that the army's moving along the south side. He's like, okay, I've cleared out the Zelda watchtowers. I've been keeping an eye on the center of the map. I know that you don't see this attack coming.
Yep.
Probe is so far out of position. He might even try and force the recall. Probe's bunching up his army, and there is going to be the recall.
Yep, he just comes back home. He realizes, and he even leaves the Colossus by accident. And now, at least he's not going to take any damage here.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. Cham just trying to buy time.
Yeah.
He's also trading out roaches now. Any roaches that he loses right now is great. Oh, boy.
Wow.
Catching a couple of these sentries in the middle of the map. Even a Colossus actually fighting versus 2 roaches. It'll actually win that fight. But a greater Spire is on the way right now for Cham, and that is the big scare.
And the 4th base got canceled too, so that was a really good maneuver by Cham. He's continuing to mine from 4 bases himself. And like you said, donating the roaches, they're not as useful at this stage of the game to be able to make room for these corruptors. And then guess what? Broodlords are going to be next. And Probe doesn't have an answer to Broodlords. I mean, I don't even know if he has... Okay, he has Blink at least with +2. But he doesn't have the amount of Stargates in order to quickly transition. So this is a really good timing here from Probe. It's right as the Broodlords that's trying to be transitioned into.
If he doesn't get something done here, he is going to be in so much trouble. There's some roaches coming in from the south side. I think they were looking to go for a counterattack originally. They may have just pulled back to try and go for some sort of sick little surround to try and mess with the Colossus AI. But they may also... No, yeah, he is actually going to just pull that back and try and help deal with this army. 3 Broodlords on the way. If you can take care of the roaches and Hydras quickly enough, the Stalkers can blink forward. They can start sniping off some of those Broodlords. He has enough these Stalkers to do so, but does he have enough firepower to take out the Roach Hydra army before this Broodlord count gets too ridiculous?
Yeah, he needs to do it now. Whether he gets a base here or at least any kind of damage, he absolutely needs to thin out this army, because once the Broodlords are out, he doesn't have a ready answer for them. I like these force fields, but I mean, still, it's just the fact that the Broodlords are there.
He sees him
He has
now.
a lot of anti-air, though. You have to admit that.
Oh, Recall's going to be on cooldown from that earlier attack, I believe. So Probe might have to walk his way out of here. He throws on the Revelation. He's going to be able to get a lot of pot shots off on these Roaches and Hydras as they try and move down to the ramp. And it looks like Probe's going to be able to escape out of here okay. He's not throwing up a Stargate or anything just yet, so he may feel confident about how he can deal with this for now, but there's also some Corruptors being added on.
Yeah, more Corruptors are going to be able to take out Colossi, or he's just going to make more Broodlords. As he continues to trade, you see that Cham did have a pretty decent bank there, but the fact that he lost that fourth means that Probe is going to be in a really nice spot economically. The fourth base for Probe is done too, and he needs to start thinking ahead, like, okay, how do I deal with these Broodlords?
Transfer the workers properly, Probe.
Uh-oh, no! I think he's realizing that, oh, he doesn't.
Okay, he's getting some really nice pickoffs over here. Cham trying to make some more Broodlords, and he's just keeping that bank for Cham low. Even if he's building up that mineral bank, his gas bank is actually very low, so that's what he really wants that fourth base for. In the meanwhile, it looks like Probe finally fixing that rally for the Probes to start mining.
And here comes the double Stargate, finally. Oh, Broodlords were exposed for a little bit of time, but now he's just going to pull them back to that high ground. Gosh, this is so scary because if you expose the Broodlords and they get sniped out, that's basically it.
Yeah.
That's what's keeping them from just blinking on top.
Fleet Beacon on the way, so we can finally start going up to... I mean, we've seen some Protoss players go for the carriers, but I feel like it's becoming more common to see at least going for the earlier Tempest. They have a faster reaction, so you can deal with the Broodlords sooner. But here we go. It looks like he might actually just go for it.
He's going for it.
The Broodlords all on the north side. The Stalkers only managed to snipe off, I think, one of them and have to back out. And now he's going to need to lay down a couple of force fields to recover his retreat path, I think.
Yeah, he's going to try to at least trap a few of the Zerg units here. Gets a decent amount of them. And remember, he did take the fourth base, but I mean, oh my gosh, if he realizes that the Broodlords are lagging behind, if only he had that tag on with the Revelation. Wait a minute, where are they going?
Oh,
the Broodlords.
Oh my god, actually, and we haven't seen drones getting roasted. Those 23 drones, and that is freeing up a lot of army supply for Cham, but also kills off a base. And oh my god, now Probe can actually just get out of here if he really needs to. He has Void Rays coming out. He snipes off 1, 2 Broodlords, gets out of there, doesn't lose too much. Force fields out the Hydras. Things are going really well for Probe, but he has to be careful not to overcommit here. He's going to blink on again.
No transfuses for these Broodlords either, and he has some great force fields, so he's not really getting that punished. He's going for the recall, and he gets on home, but gosh, that was nice that he was able to thin out the Broodlord count, but can he remax in time to defend?
Okay, he has 3 Void Rays out, 2 more coming out on the way. Would love to see another Void Ray starting on up, but I can see he's low on that gas income. Might even need to warp in Zealots or something, but I don't think he actually has... Oh, he does have Zealot charge, so that would be maybe helpful for buying some time. At the same time, though, I mean, you go for Zealots, and then the Broodlings just really mess with the AI for there. But okay, Cham moving across the map. He is nearly maxed out once again, but some of that is still making its way across the map.
Yeah, even adding Vipers to the mix, it's going to take a bit of time for them to get that energy out, but this is an opportunity. Oh no, Cham was trying to set up a sick flank, but Probe with his army all at that north side was able to take out a good amount of the Roach Hydra force.
Cham, though, sniping off that fourth base.
Yeah, but is he going to trap himself here? No, he's going to try to get that high ground. And with the Void Rays coming out, can he get some more force fields? It looks like he doesn't have any more sentries anymore.
Oh my god, Broodlord's disappearing, but the Void Rays disappearing faster.
No!
2 Broodlords are all that remain. Is Probe going to be able to hold on? Some reinforcements coming in from behind. Even a Viper coming into the mix. Oh my god, he can pull that one Colossus.
Yoink!
Oh, there go down both of the Colossus. The power units for Probe. The Immortal is going to go down. It's just Stalkers left over. He's down 50 supply.
He has +3, but it is only Stalkers, as you said. Against +3, hey, Cham actually has been getting really good upgrades for his Roaches and Hydras. And the fact that the Broodlords were killed, I thought that, that was going to be a good position here for Probe. But he just lost so much during it.
Cham is actually chasing this army so much further than I thought. If he can get the full surround over here, good, this is going to be worth it.
Now that's a Cham sandwich,
Stalkers. Oh, man. And now suddenly Probe just doesn't have any else to work with. You can see him not super happy about how this final trade has ended up going. He's playing really well and sticking in there in the game, but now he's back down to a 3-base economy versus a 4-base Zerg. He's lost so much of his army supply, and what does he do now? He's making Archons. He doesn't actually have Storm, so he can't even really make use of this High Templar.
High Templar would have been great, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, this is if this this is time for a Dark Shrine or something.
Yeah.
Like, he needs a miracle.
I don't even know if he has enough time here, Fade Dragon. It looks like he's going to go for this final, not even a last stand, because he's actually trying to push the issue. Blinding Cloud goes down, going to force Probe to move on back, but he is getting some great value out of these Hydras. And, oh gosh, against the corner, he's going to get pushed. Charge Lots, as you said, going to try to get something done. Archon's trying to hug the Hydras. This is it. There's not enough Protoss.
Cham, third player,
going to be in the finals. What a series.
Ooh.
My God.